All right, so looking through example A, we want to simplify 5x to the negative 2 times y times z to the 0 power times 3x to the 4th divided by y to the 4th. We want to write this we want to simplify and write it without any negative exponents. So we want to combine all of our x's, all of our y's, all of our z's, all of our coefficients, the numbers in front, and so that we just have a number, and then x, y, and z. So in the first step, what are they doing? They have the commutative property. What are they doing here? Right, so the commutative property tells us that we can rearrange things with multiplication, because order doesn't matter. So they're grouping all the like stuff together, right? They have all of the numbers together, and then the x's, y's, and then z. So number 2 says apply the exponent rule. So what are our exponent rules that we have so far? All right, so if we're multiplying, if bases are the same, then we can multiply. If we're multiplying the bases together, what do we do with our exponents? Add them. If we're dividing, if the bases are the same and we're dividing, what do we do with the exponents? Subtract them. If you are down here like this, y to the 4th, how did they write it? Y to the negative 4th, right? Why can you do that? What power is that? What rule? We talked about it yesterday. What's that rule called? What's the lesson titled? It's a negative exponent rule, right? So if it's in the denominator, we can write that in the numerator, but we write it with a negative in front. And that just tells us that it doesn't belong in the numerator. It belongs in the denominator. That's all the negative tells us. So now they're applying the exponent rules. So we have x to the negative 2 times x to the 4th. We're multiplying. The bases are the same. So what do we do with the exponents? We add them. And then we have our y's. We have y to the 1st power times y to the negative 4th power. We're multiplying the bases. So what do we do with the exponents? We add them. And then we have z to the 0. So step 3, what are they doing? They're combining like terms. They're simplifying those exponents. They're actually doing the math. So we have negative 2 plus 4 gives us positive 2. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. And z to the 0 power is 1. So step 4, write without negative exponents. We have that y to the, and they also multiply the 5 and 3 to get 15. So y to the negative 3, what does that negative tell us? It doesn't belong in the numerator, does it? So we drop it down. So the negative, we drop it down to the denominator, so we have y to the 3rd. So then our solution without, so this whole mass here reduces to 15x squared divided by y to the 3rd. So if you were, reading a report or something, and you had to choose between the before and after to read, which one would you choose? Which one would be most likely easier to work with? The after, right? So that's why it's important to simplify, because, life is complicated and you have lots of different influences. But when we combine everything together, we want it to be all simplified. You combine everything that's alike, and so that you have the most simplified version. All right, so I would like for you to do letter A. Did we do A? Seems familiar. All right, so do A. Let's do A. And then we will check it. So here, if we're going to do the step 1, we'll have 2 times 5 times a squared times a times b to the negative 3 times b. So 2 times 5 is 10. And then how do I combine these? So 1 base, what do I do with the exponents? Add them. This a has an implied 1. This b has an implied 1, so this would be 2 plus 1. And then what are we going to do with the negative 3 and the 1? Add them. So now we just combine like terms. So 10, 2 plus 1 is 3. What's negative 3 plus 1? Negative 2. The negative, it tells us it needs to go below. So then we'll have a to the positive 3 over b squared. When we drop it down below, we don't have to write the negative again because we're putting it where it belongs. All right, how are we feeling about that? A little bit better? So in our remaining time, we're going to start 19.3. We'll get a little more practice.